thing about this heat, as we talk about it, it's not just uncomfortable. Sometimes it can be quite dangerous, even deadly. So with that in mind, let's bring in Dr. Leigh Vinocur to talk a little bit more about this, give people an idea about what they should be thinking about with this board-certified emergency physician, chief medical officer at Adada Medical Practice. All right, let's put up some of the suggestions. A lot of this is obvious on the screen, but when you talk to people, what do you tell them on a day like this? Obviously, it's hot, but it can be really, really dangerous.
Yeah, it is. There's an extreme of heat illness. It starts with heat exhaustion, where you're just getting cramps, you're getting dehydrated, you might be nauseous, and then it can work its way into a spectrum called heat stroke, which is a true medical emergency. They call it heat stroke because you're confused, you're incapacitated. Sometimes you can't even get out of the element. So if you see someone that's acting that way, you need to call 911 and help get them out of the elements. But what happens in very high temperatures, high humidity, we can't evaporate the sweat. And then heat stroke is where your internal thermostat, your hypothalamus in the brain doesn't function. Some people can have temperatures of up to 106 degrees Fahrenheit. And that can cause organ damage and death,
of
in
course,
young athletes.
Even in young athletes, but in high-risk people who might be a little bit older, I think sometimes what we fall into is that we say, well, you know, for years and years it's been hot in the summer and it's never really bothered me. But if you look at the numbers about the number of people who have died from heat-related illnesses in the United States, they've gone up. I mean, last year was over 2,300 versus maybe 1,700. There it is the year before, and down at 1,600 the year before that. So I'm wondering, is this different? You know, what the type of heat we're experiencing now versus years ago?
Well, yeah, I'm sure that climate change is affecting what's happening today in the world. And it's around the world. It isn't just in the U.S. Record temperatures all throughout the world. So that is probably part of what's happening. But you're right. It's very important to make sure that you are taking precautions and keeping well hydrated and trying to stay out of the heat during the worst parts of the day. But of course, if you're a worker on a road crew, or you're a landscaper, or you're something where you can't get out of it, you need to take frequent breaks, and you need to make sure that you're hydrated. And then, as you said, there are people that are predisposed, people on certain medications like antihistamines or even antidepressants. It can increase your internal temperature, so you have to be careful.
Yep, it can happen quick. All right, Doctor, thank you. Dr. Leigh Vinocur with us right now. Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.